This one was a pain in the butt. But you know what? I like it. Let's talk blades, everybody. That's what we're into today. Got for you guys Deer Slayer. That's actually kind of cool. I actually like that name, even though that's just, I guess that's the name of the model of knives that falls in the category of. It's made by a company called Star. Um, that's all I really know. I don't know too much about this knife. It's within the collection of traditional slip joints that I obtained. And this is a big knife. I've been carrying it in my back pocket for the last couple days. I believe I got it yesterday, and I was carrying it all yesterday. I cleaned it up. When I got it, I purchased this off of eBay, and the previous owner, I guess, really, really put this through just to put it through some beating, just some kind of really hard use. Not too hard, obviously, but hard enough to where there was a bit of rust on the bolsters and on the blade. So much so that it caused a little bit of pitting, but I think that it gives the knife character. I really do enjoy this knife. Would I have liked it to be brand new? I don't know. I really don't. I think I was looking for a big slip joint knife like this that's been used. I don't know. That's unlike me, to be honest. But I ended up finding it, and it ended up coming into my possession. So I'm happy to have it on this channel. So this is one of those type of knives. Very cool, and I very, very much enjoy the etching on the knife blade. I very much enjoy the stamps, I should say. I really like the bone handle on this knife, and the overall style of this knife. I'm not used to the whole floral kind of atmosphere that these knives kind of portray, the whole hunting aspect of it, and I'm not really a huge fan of that stuff. I've never been hunting, and I don't really plan on doing anything like that anytime soon. I have this kind of thing against that of killing animals, but there's a sport. I understand it's kind of a thing that is an acquired taste, and some people don't see it as gruesome or as bad as a lot of people do. And I'm not one of those people who's all about, protecting animals and wildlife and all that. That's a whole nother topic. I just don't like killing animals, I don't like the idea of it. But I think this is a different turn for me. I really do like the style of knife. So the pattern on this knife, you see that it has a running deer, I guess, running through what looks to be the forest. All right, so you got the stamp here. It says Star Handcrafted, and if you flip it around, it says 440 stainless, and in that black smudge, because I was trying to clean this out, and it looks like there's still some gunk in there. I need to get in there and try to get it all out. It says Japan, so it has 3330B, all right? And yes, this knife has seen better days. It definitely has. There was a bit of rust in the bolster area here, as well as a really big spot here and a little bit on the top right up there. There's a lot of wear. You can still see that it says Deer Slayer. Excuse me. It still says Deer Slayer on the shield right here, but it's a little bit worn down. The S and the L and the R right here are a little bit, they look like they're worn down a tad. But you got the pinned construction, and if you look, this is uneven because it looks like there was a little bit of pressure here. As you can tell, it kind of, the swell here, there's a little bit of a bend of it sitting in someone's pocket. But it still works. The blade isn't like grinding up against the handle. It is touching, but it's not doing too much harm, I suppose. It's still a really big knife, and it's still really beefy, and it does have some weight to it. I'm going to get to the specs of this knife. I've seen a few for sale on eBay. If you can get one, get one. Now, one thing that really disappointed me, it wasn't just the rust, because there was a lot of rust on the blade right here. You can see some pitting right there. And you can tell that there's just been, and right here, there's a little bit of rust. There's a little bit of rust down here and in these little parts. So when I had to clean it out, I cleaned out the inside with some special liquid, and just a whole bunch of just gunk and stuff came out from there. And I was actually able to get this thing nice and cleaned up. It was really rough. Like, you couldn't really open it. It was really, like, right now it's really smooth. But before, it was never this smooth. It was like you had to pull it, and you can feel the grittiness, and then it was not as crisp. It was really just full of gunk. And what really ticked me off was the blade was a bend at the tip. So going all the way up to the tip right here, and it was just bent. Almost not completely, but to the point where you can really tell. So I had to carefully take that bend and then straighten out the tip the best that I can. And now it's a lot more straight than it was when I got it. So it seems like a really decent knife for what it is right now anyway. And it has a decent edge. It actually came to me with a workable sharp edge. So that's really cool. You got the nail nick on here on this side, but what I do is I just grab it because there's a lot of blade right there to grab, and you just pull it open. So it's nice. I put a little bit of KPL lube in there, the heavy stuff, and it seems to, because I cleaned out all this, and there was just a ton of gunk and rust and stuff. So now it's a lot smoother. It works, and it's nice, and it's huge-ish, and it cuts. Sadly, I ended up paying $95 for this knife, so it's a bit of a hefty. I don't think they make this particular knife anymore. If they do, it's probably not the same as this. It's still really nice. I really do like the bone handles. So I'm into bone handle scales when it comes to traditional slip joint knives, or any traditional knife anyways. Bone handle or horn handle, I'm into that stuff. Not so much wood, I don't know why. I just don't like wood too much. But the castle wood ones, now those are freaking badass, dude. I freaking love those. Those are great. So you're looking at, wow, almost 4.5 inches. So this is a big boy knife. 4 3/8 of actual blade reach with a 4 1/8 cutting edge. Or if you just want to go with 4 inches, you can go with that too, because I'm counting the plunge grind for some weird reason. Almost 10 inches, so you're looking at 9 3/4 of actual length from edge to handle. And you're looking at almost 6 inches of handle right there if you have it closed in your pocket. So a little over 5.5 inches. It's a big one. It's a big knife. And of course, let's get the calipers out. So you're looking at a 14.7 on the handle, and the blade's relatively thin. So you're looking at a 2.3 millimeters on the blade. Yeah, so when the person that had this before me used this knife, they were really hard using it. And I noticed that the way that the tip was somebody who stabbed into something and pried with it. So they pulled up, which in turn bent the blade this way. So you can kind of still see it, but it was really bad before. And I'm trying not to bend it back too much because I don't want to run the risk of ruining the blade or snapping it, or even making it worse and softening the steel, so it's because it's really thin. So this is one of those knives where I'm trying to be really careful. But it has a lot of character. So this is still a usable knife. Obviously, it's still great for collecting. 440 stainless, I'm not a huge fan of, but a lot of the knives, especially traditional knives now, they still have that 440 stainless. So it's really easy to sharpen, but it is a softer steel, and it's not like your bigger, heavier, more fancier steels. So just keeping that in mind. If you do end up trying to find a deer slayer, which I still think that that's a cool name, if you're able, to find one and you have the money for it, pick it up. This is a neat. It's neat. It's really heavy. I don't even know why. I totally forgot to do the weight for you guys. What the heck? See, I'm already messing up. All right, so you're looking at 8.02 ounces. All right, this thing is almost 9 ounces, which means it's almost like a freaking, cold steel, like my heavy cold steel 6-inch tie light. So this is kind of a hefty boy. This is something that's going to weigh down the pocket, and you're going to feel it, whether it's in the front or the back. So just saying that right now, it does have some wear, but I was able to remove the rust, and now it's just a nice cleaned up knife that has a little bit of history and was in a previous life. It came to me sharp. Yeah, it's got some scratches, but I can remove that with a little bit of fine sandpaper. I've noticed that I can do that if I want to. I was actually planning on removing the black that's on this art side to keep it kind of, I wanted to keep it silver like this side, but I know that it's going to cause, you're going to still see some etching, from the artwork that's on here. But I don't know if I really want to do that, because I'm afraid that if I do that, it's going to make it more raw steel, and it's probably going to patina anyways over time, and it's going to just cause it to do this anyways, make this dark pattern. It's not bad. It's really, really chunky. And another thing that I've noticed, that if you close it, the tip is a little bit protruding. So that could be a number of things. It could be this part right here is too high, so putting it down in there causes this to stick out a little bit more. Or it could be the fact that this blade was just a tad bit longer, and the previous owner sharpened it down so that way the tip isn't actually flush with the handle. But looking and judging off of the artwork on the blade, it looks to me like this is the actual size of the blade, because the artwork stops at a certain point. Now, that could be due to sharpening, or it could be the fact that the artwork does actually stop there, and the point is still the original point that it had, aside from it being used and abused. But you know what? Use and abuse is normal on knives like this. So, especially when it's hard to find knives like this, kind of got to just roll with the punches and just take what you can get. So I was able to make it my own by cleaning it up. I'm probably going to carry this one a little bit more, but it all depends, because it is a brick in my pocket. I don't think it's something I'm going to be carrying all the time. But it's still a nice piece, and I wanted to show you guys this, a little show and tell kind of thing for this particular knife, because I think it's really cool. It's classy, in my opinion. For a big knife, it's still really classy. It's really pretty, so it works. And if it works, it don't need fixing, right? So I was about to, do a really big overhaul on it as far as restoring it, but I kind of don't want to do that. This knife, it just itches with history. Now, I don't know who this belonged to before. I did outright purchase this knife, but I don't know who its previous owner was. So it kind of makes me wonder what this knife has been through. Has it been on hunting excursions? Has it saved lives? Has it taken? I know that's kind of grim to think, but when you get a knife from somebody and it's used, then it's pure, it's pure history at that point. It's pure, previous life stuff that you'll never know. So it's actually kind of cool. I actually want to know what this knife has actually been through, but I guess I'm not really ever going to know. But this knife has been places, I can tell, just by how it was used. So, but it was used pretty well, judging by the scratches and the bend on the tip and the rust on it. It just proves to me that this particular person, either just used it, didn't wipe it, only wiped it down when he needed to, and just threw it in his back pocket or his front pocket, or maybe he had a leather sheath for this. I don't know. I don't really know if this ever came with an actual leather sheath. If it has that print on the blade, this kind of looks like something that would be sitting in a picture or in a glass frame somewhere on a wall. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this was just one of those knives that you collect it and use it. The blade's relatively thin, so I have no idea, really. But it's still nice. It's really neat. It's big. And I was able to clean it up the way that I did, so it still has that, I don't know, has that nice character to it. So really cool stuff. I don't know this company Star, but I am going to try and look into it and see if there's any other knives from this company. Apparently they're based out of Japan. I don't know, I could be wrong about that. But really neat. I really do like that. I dig that very much. I like that. It's got nice weight to it. With a knife this big, I kind of would have preferred there to be some sort of backlock to it because it has a pretty hefty blade. But it's relatively decent for a slip joint, and it is relatively safe for its size, so it works out. I'm really content with it. But if there is one out there with a backlock, you best bet I'm going to want that. But, you know, this is still really neat for what it is. Deer Slayer. That's actually really cool. I don't know why I like that. I think it's just, you know, nostalgic. Anyways, I'm going to try and oil this thing back up again, at least on the pivot side, so I can get it nice and smooth. And even though it is already smooth, I'm trying to keep it up so that way it doesn't get all gritty sitting in my pocket. Really cool stuff. So go ahead and slash that like button, stab that subscribe, slice that bell icon so you guys are notified anytime I post new stuff in these craziest of times. Everybody, please be kind, be safe, carry responsibly, and I'll see you all awesome people in the next video.